And I think that's what we're trying to point out here. So I'm walking for child abuse victims and people who've been abused. You know, when I was at Bilderberg speaking 2 weeks ago, there were plenty of people who came up to me because I told my story.
Are you still on the run? Still on the run?
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing tonight. I have no idea what's going to happen next week. This is ongoing. Just because I've turned up here, it's been absolutely terrifying over this past week.
Yeah, I can imagine,
And absolutely.
So you're out with your video going out on YouTube, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool, okay. And you say Kenneth Clark, yeah?
Yeah. So these police statements, they're not doing anything.
No.
I mean, the rule of law has technically been broken by the police. And laws have to apply to all of us equally, without exception.
That's right, yeah.
Otherwise, there's anarchy.
That's why we've got the situation we're in now, isn't it? Because they're a law unto themselves.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And they're stealing our money, they're stealing our children.
We felt that they could tell me theirs, which I was really grateful for. And again, more and more people that you wouldn't think of being abused are abused. And my uncle abused me, the clergyman abused me, been abused by the police, a police officer or someone, you know, and we hear these stories. And I think a lot of people just goes over them. But if you have been abused, it stays with you for the rest of your life, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You know, some of the criticisms that people have been getting, you know, for not reporting things at the time, waiting 20 years or whatever it is, until they report it, is because they probably have reported it. The police do a demoralisation exercise on them, which means, in their own words, they said to me, and I videoed them, that when you complain to the police dismiss you, you don't complain again. So therefore, did they get to make the statement, or did they just get dismissed at the desk in the police station? Well, you know, we don't know. But it's very difficult to go into a police station and tell your horrific story when you've been abused. It's not an easy thing. You have to relive it, and then you have to relive it against the solicitors, and for the court. It's a really big deal. And, you know, people have killed themselves, they've attempted suicide. You know, it destroys families, it destroys people's lives. So I'm walking for all those people who feel that they can't speak for themselves.
We're all hot, we're all tired, we're all hungry, right? That's it. But actually, I still don't understand why you're so angry with me. You have to be pretty... Hold on a minute, I can't put my stuff on by myself, Dan.
He's going to Wicks.
Ben!
So this is like, every time there's something like this, he's just going to say, well, fuck off home. That's it. It's been like this all the way through, really. Yeah. Let me give you a hand. Okay, mind your head.
Mal is buying the gas. Wait for us.
Well, I think he's got the money now.
Mal is buying the gas. Just wait.
So let me just check. You want me to buy gas, yeah?
No,
will I be able to use the...
You can buy gas.
Oh, okay. But you should buy your own.
No.
Oh. But can I use the attachment to cook with? Just... Because otherwise I'll be stuck with a can of gas that's no good to me.
You know, Ed Balls is in there. From Labour, you've got George Osborne. So even if the Conservatives went tomorrow, Ed Balls is going to basically put forward the Bilderberg
the same plans,
agenda. Yeah, absolutely.
They're just puppets, aren't they?
Yeah, so what's the democracy?
There is none.
What's the pretense of democracy, even? Well, they're here at the Grove, and they're flouting it. They've even given us the land here today, so we could all turn up.
You haven't been able to get your story out with the press then being here?
Yeah, we're trying to do that now. This is the weekend for it.
You haven't done it at the moment?
No, but as soon as it comes out in the mainstream, I'll be safe.
Yeah. Do you think it will come out in the mainstream?
At some point.
Some big names though.
Yeah, but the British public deserve to know. And at some point, all the internet talk and the videos going up will become too much for everybody to ignore. And people will just ask the question, okay, speak to Kenneth Clark. Don't arrest him, we're not interested.
They're changing the laws on the internet, though, aren't they? They're going to stop.
That's right.
You know?
I'm not interested in Kenneth Clark being, you know, arrested and dragged into a police station. I would just like him questioned because I've made a statement accusing him of extremely serious charges, accusations.
But they're satanic, though, aren't they? They're satanic, aren't they?
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, they are.
What, sorry?
What club?
Well, this is the thing. There's an actual physical place that is a club, and rituals go on there. Because I've been there when the rituals have been going on there, and
In where?
in the club. Brian knows. Brian knows.
What, in Leeds?
No. Brian knows. You know, just tell him. You know that it's the club that his London team operate. Because that's how he told me. He told me it was his London team.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Nobody! We don't even know where the stuff we're going now. Ben, we need to figure out where we're going. This is ridiculous. Well, even if it kills me. Huh? Even if it kills me. How the fuck do you know? What the fuck? Do you think I've got no water? You're not listening to me. Right, but you don't think there's a woman behind like that. Isn't it? What is the plan? I'm walking to London. I realise that, Ben. I've been doing it. I've been for you. Right, so why do I have to keep reminding everybody? Chill out. Do you want a cigarette? Can you just chill out, please? Thank you, Ben. No, you're welcome. Thank you, Ben. I've been sitting on my ass in a fucking pub on the internet, having, you know, cyber wanks with, you know, whomever. Not much else.
Explain to me about this team thing then, Ben.
Well, we're all here doing our individual walk, yeah? And the way that I've been brought up in the film industry, in stage school, etc., is that you do what you need to do to get the job done.
This is Pablo Woodward, and I am the Disco Bunny. Free smiles, by the way. I would love to have a home. This is my home. Come with me, please. When I go to bed, I jump in my car and I lie like this. A bit flatter, yeah? Like that. And I would really like to be able to cook in my house. So I'm going to ask you please to donate. I only need £2,000 and then maybe I have to have like a big mobile home. And I don't want to live in a house. I just want to have a mobile house so I can go and I can fulfill my dreams, which is to travel the world, to meet people, and make people smile and bring joy to them because they bring joy to me.
Sometimes you're on a 3-month shoot, and yes, people fall behind, people get tired, and you cut them loose. It's as simple as that. You cut them loose. It's as simple as that. You cut them loose. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So that's how I've been brought up. So the fact is that when you're saying I'm basically tired and grumpy and moany and da-da-da, I'm saying keep up or go home. Because that's the choice you have. You don't have to be here. No one does. You don't have to be here. No one does. You don't have to be here. No one does. No one does.
Do you not think that you should really consider the people, especially the people that have been walking from day one, with you, the two people stood here with you now, Hannah and myself, don't you think you should be considering them?
I consider everyone.
And how bad they feel when they're falling behind. So why are you so abusive to people?
Well, I'm not abusive. But
well, I can show you video of you being abusive.
Well, then that's good. Good for you. Put it up on YouTube.
I want you to explain to me how you think that because of the way you were brought up in a child actor environment, and you've already said that child actor environments are terrible for the brain and for the attitude, that your attitude is right now.
I think it will come out on the mainstream.
At some point.
Some big names though.
Yeah, but the British public deserve to know. And at some point, all the internet talk and the videos going up will become too much for everybody to ignore. And people will just ask the question, okay, speak to Kenneth Clark. Don't arrest him, we're not interested.
They're changing the laws on the internet though, aren't they? They're going to stop.
That's right.
You know.
Right? Nothing happened at all. And yesterday I found out why. And this very nice person from the Leveson Inquiry basically told me that you and Patrick and the other bloggers that put up your posts and what have you are going to be the poster children for the censorship of the internet in this country. For the same reason as the Australian pranksters are the poster children for radio, right? Broadcasting. And my mouth was hung open. I went, you know. And they said, yeah, that's basically what's going to happen to you. And I said, so why are you telling me? He said, I'm giving you 5 minutes warning because I like you. And that was it. Apparently we'd met at a party once and I was nice. I am nice, that's the thing, you know.
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
What you've said...
You choose to be there.
Yeah, you choose to be there. But
you actually pay for
then you're pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed as a child actor. You said yourself, you know, child actors...
I'm talking about having to give blowjobs in cafeterias.
Yeah, okay, yeah. At the end of the day, I'm asking you straight, Ben. Like, you're coming out with the big, oh, you know, it's all about the way I was brought up as a child actor, the way I did this. And that you, in the same breath, you're saying, you know, child actors are, you know, it's a terrible place to be because it teaches you all bad things. Does that not make you think that what you're trying to outlay here might be a bad thing? Because where I come from, team playing is everything. Making sure you don't leave your wounded behind is everything. Making sure you complete a course together is everything. But you've said yourself, if you can't keep up with me, fuck off. Like, how do you feel about that?
If you can't keep up, fuck off.
That's your attitude?
That is my attitude.
Why is that? Because you have this determination to go on your own without any support? Do you expect to turn up in London, in Parliament, and have people sympathetic to what you're doing with your attitude, if you can't keep up, fuck off? It's the same as what you said at Exeter. When you went to Exeter, you said, I'm not going to go into Exeter. Fuck the people, you said. Fuck the people. That's what you said. Do you remember that at Exeter? You said, fuck the people. I'm not going in. But for Stan on his, you said, well, we got here 2 days early, so we thought we'd crack straight on. But when we spoke to you, like, a few days before, you were like, fuck the people. I'm not going into the town centre. I'm not going to talk to the people. Fuck the people. How do you expect, Ben, the people to support you in Parliament when you have that attitude?
Looking forward to this conversation.
Right, so here we are. We've got a hero of the day, Ben Fellows, incoming hero, Brian Harvey, lead singer of E17.
Ex-lead singer.
How are you, Stan?
I'm right, thank you.
Good friend of mine. I'll give you a kiss in a minute,
I
bruv.
hope so.
Well, it's
I deserve one.
Purely masculine, yeah. Now, Ben Fellows is just, Ben's just walked 300 miles from Plymouth to London. Yeah. And now he's going into Parliament. He's, as he says, he's storming Parliament, and he's going to take up the position that Brian Hoare was in. And you're going to put a tent where Brian Hoare was, are you?
No, Brian Hoare was on the green opposite Palace of Westminster. We're going to walk into the Palace of Westminster and get it on the green within the gates of the Palace of Westminster. So you've got common people occupying the common land, and they cannot then reconvene Parliament. It is illegal for them to do that. And that means we've stormed Parliament and then we've sacked the government from
That's why we love him. Tell us what's happening, what we're doing.
Right, what we're going to do, we're going to walk to the House of Parliament. Whilst the police are talking to you guys, I'm going to go in with my tent, and basically I'm going to set my tent up, put Section 6 on it, which gives me squatters' rights for 4 months, at which point we are going to basically sack Parliament, Oliver Cromwell style, not with an army, with a tent.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, let's go and do
that one.
Mate, let's go and do it.
You like that one? Let's do it, eh?
See you later, do that.
It's alright, let's go on. Come on.
Yeah, mind your back, mate. Mind your back. I can do in a second, but give me a second. Mind you.
Can I just ask you a question?
You can.
Are you here on your own today? Are you here on your own today, sir? Just say hello to anyone.
Yeah, block me. You've caused obstruction, my friend. Can you move out the way, please? Right, there you go. Let's be clear.
Do what he says.
Come on, Brian.
Brian, come on, mate. Come on, mate. Are you here on your own today, sir? On your own? You haven't taken an oath?
Ben, go and talk to that police officer, tell him what you've just done.
Huh?
Go and talk to him, tell him what you've just done, who you are.
But we haven't done it yet.
What are you going to do? What?
No, it wasn't there. She made a mistake. Yeah?
Oi, Anna.
Yeah.
Who's a silly girl?
Me.
Look. Who's a silly girl?
Oh, the gate is open and you
Timing's everything.
Go for it.
Now, there was a little bit of a fuck up where Hannah put her tent in the wrong place. So now, this is where Brian Hall lay for 7 years. Come in, Brian. Brian Hall laid here for 8 years, sorry, and then he died of lung cancer. I'm not surprised with all the fumes he was getting here. So anyway, for you armchair activists, get up off your fucking asses and get on the street and show a bit of bollocks for a change, because I'm really pissed off with you, actually. Not those of you that do get out. So now we're waiting for Ben. I think he's going to pitch his tent here. And then, and once the tent is pitched, I don't think it's going to be very long before we have the police here. So we'll just cut it on that. Press that red button, Brian.
Yep. Here we go.
Okay. So, tent's up.
Tent up.
Right.
Down. That's the point. That's why I'm here.
Do you know about that?
Where MPs are above the law within the European superstate.
Is that right?
I'm not getting involved or discussing.
We are.
But you are involved.
That's why you're here.
Excuse me, Sergeant. Does that act supersede his human rights? The acts that you mentioned, yeah.
Acts of Parliament statutes that need the consent of the government.
Does it supersede this gentleman's human rights?
We're not telling him he cannot stay here. What we're saying is the tent.
The structure, no structure.
Has to go. And bedding and anything.
It's not a permanent structure though, is it, Sergeant?
But it still comes if I bring the paperwork over, which you probably know all about anyway, you'll see that it actually says the word tent, bedding, etc.
Square. So you're putting the tent here is
Have you read the Section
illegal.
6?
Yeah, we got our later as well. We're going to give you later.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Excuse me, why have you come over? And because you've got senior officers, we've got the police here. Is this? Are you from the council? You're not from the. Who are you?
No.
Could you get this? Get this.
We've known each other for a while, you know that.
Yeah. Oh, I've met you before.
We have Trafalgar Square.
How'd you do?
We helped you out last time, remember?
How'd you do? Brian?
I'm out.
Right.
I'm out.
So,
No, mate.
this guy's got a Section 6 on his tent. This is where Brian Hall was now.
And what is the next? What is the next? What is
I've
the
already
next thing?
explained that, sir.
Well, I don't know. You haven't told me. Can I know, please?
Well, I've already issued the direction.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the next step is to issue with a letter if you don't comply with direction.
Right.
Because it is an offence not to comply with an authorised officer's
okay, is that under a certain act? What is that? What
That's
section is
under
that
the
under?
Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act.
That's an act.
So you're going to give us a letter. Let's have a round of applause. We've done what we've done.
done, Ben.
Well done, mate. Well done, man.
But I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. Brian Hall did it. I'm going to do it. 10 or no 10.
And again.
Well, and self-isolating, 2 metres apart. Yeah. Couple of bits just to go through today. Let me go with this camera. Yeah. A lot of people keep sending me stuff now about, and it's been going on for a little while, but I ignored it for a while. Ben Fellows. He's reappeared on the scene as Zed Phoenix. I did talk briefly about this the other day, but I want to go into it a little bit more today. What is going on with this bloke? How do you... The first I heard of him, right, this guy was something to do with getting a job at G4S Security around the London Olympics.
This is when it appeared in the Express, so we got it into mainstream media, which was really cool, which was great. That happened at the Olympics as well, but they replaced me with an actor. So, you know, some white actor they put in a hat and thing and said he was the undercover guy. But he was saying basically what I had said. So to be actually on the front of the Express newspaper is actually a really good thing, and you know, them acknowledging my existence and what have you. So that's me and my wife Julia, and this is the letter that the Cabinet Office sent to Patrick Henningsman. The 21st Century Wire. Nothing was sent to me. This was just sent to him. And it basically says that the comments are defamatory, blah, blah, blah. It was mistaken identity, as Ian said earlier. You know, maybe he didn't understand it was. Ian Greer stood there in his office and said, Ben Fellows, well, Ben Worrell, Ken Clark. Right? Because Worrell was my stage name for the job. Right? So when someone says...
And he was being spoken to again by David Icke's mate, Richie Allen. That's the one that Richie Allen put me onto. David Icke put me onto, who then had Puddick on the show a week or 2 weeks later to wind me up. These people are a collective of agents, I believe. And I've said it before, I believe that these people are out there basically they're spreading disinformation. They jump all over the stories that are like 5G, child abuse, anything conspiratorial. These people seem to be out there up front supporting them. Obviously I got roped in on this Bill Maloney one, and the first time I ever met Bill Maloney was with Ben Fellows here, and there he is, Ben Fellows, and many more. I just saw something then, didn't something just say live then? Hang on, what was that? Live now. Oh, it's me. Here I am, I'm live, 200 people watching. Well, thank you for tuning in. So, Ben Fellows is Zed Phoenix, right? So now, let me just have a look over here at the screenshots that I've kept. And let's just pull out some, I've screenshotted a lot of this, Brian Harvey, Ben Fellows, just that were in the Google list. I mean, there's pages and pages of it. Let's go back here, Brian Harvey, Ben Fellows. Right, what about if we do Ben Fellows, Zed Phoenix. Right, so now, Ben Fellows, Lee Hazeldean, Zed Phoenix, has now got a new site called www.govote.org.uk. Zed Phoenix is Ben Fellows, no harm there if he means well. Really? Did he mean well before then? This geezer's a disinfo agent. Blatantly. not dissing the guy, and if he was sexually abused or assaulted. Well, I don't believe that story. He started bringing all sorts of people into it. Tom Cruise, and this one made it really fucking fantastical. And then the strange thing about it, if I can find it, is what you would know Ben Fellows for mainly. 8 years ago, Labour leader was called for Ken Clarke to resign after rape in a radio interview. Ben Fellows discusses. Ben Fellows exposes Ken Clarke as a paedophile and explains his disappearance to Gun. Right? Ben Fellows, Ken Clarke, the big beast of the British politics. Right, now this don't make any sense. Ben Fellows wins court case against Kenneth Clarke. Right, so, oh, here we go. Look, here he is. Here he is, look. Guidance.
Are you still on the run? Still on the run?
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing tonight. I have no idea what's going to happen next week. This is ongoing. Just because I've turned up here, it's been absolutely terrifying.
They're all satanic. So that's who you're dealing with. You're dealing with satanic people, a law about themselves.
Yeah.
But anyway,
thank you so much.
I hope you get what you want, mate.
Well, I just want to be safe, really.
Yeah. No one's safe, though, are they?
No, but I'm in a very precarious position until it hits the mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, I had CID officers saying they'd had a meeting and that my life was directly in danger.
Yeah.
That was what, last week.
Some big names there, so I would imagine so. They don't want that coming out, do they? But I only found out about your case yesterday through the UK column and that.
Yes, they've been doing an amazing job, and I hadn't even realised that all that had happened.
Yeah.
I was away from everything. I don't have a mobile phone. I hadn't seen the internet. I'd stayed away.
It's only while you've been away that they've really got on it then.
That's right. Yeah. My wife got worried because I hadn't turned up where I was supposed to. Because I actually got a bit spooked and went to another friend's.
Yeah.
And then made my way to that guy.
Okay.
And so she got worried and thought, well, that's something's happened.
Yeah.
And so the UK column
calls
have taken
were made
and up the profile, really.
Yeah.
Which is really great, and I'm ever so grateful to them. I'm grateful to Liberty Tactics Radio, who've had my wife on. They're doing an amazing job. If it wasn't for Brian Gerrish and Liberty Tactics and Lou Collins and James and all the crew that you see in the green tent over there, my story basically wouldn't be getting out, and my life would be in jeopardy right now.
Yeah, they've definitely got it out, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, because I wouldn't have heard about it if I didn't go there myself. So.
And you know, when you've got a controlled media, then the alternative media becomes the media.
Oh yeah. You got to make your own news, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I hope it all works out for you, mate. I'll see you around, Jeff.
Right,
I've obviously got some left, but I think last time we had a bunch of them, didn't we?
You with the news, mate? You with the news?
Yeah.
Who you with?
ITV News.
Okay. There's a guy over there that's been paedophiled by Kenneth Clarke.
Really?
Yeah. Too big a story.
No, we just have to be very, after what happened with McAlpine, where the guy...
I got a simple one for you then.
He's placed himself in a position where, to be honest with you, no matter what anybody says to me, and that includes yourself, I cannot be convinced that Brian Gerrish is operating with anything but an ulterior motive, because I've seen too much, and I've seen a pattern of his behaviour. Now, the only way that I can reverse that position, in my mind, is if the man addresses the points and totally reverses his position and renounces any connection to the club. I'll just call it the club now, and if you speak to him, he'll know exactly what you are saying, even though it might not mean anything to you at this stage, and that's all I'll say on that. But can
I just clarify? Do you mean the Con Club?
The what? Sorry.
What club?
Well, this is the thing. There's an actual physical place that is a club, and rituals go on there. Because I've been there when the rituals have been going on there, And
in where?
In the club. Brian knows. Brian knows.
What, in Leeds?
No. Brian knows. You know, just tell him. You know that it's the club that his London team operate. Because that's how he told me. He told me it was his London team.
One thing that did come out of my recuperation and myself and other people helping to get me well again, and I think I'm nearly there, is I was sitting in an armchair one day, and I must have been sitting in there staring at the floor for 2 or 3 hours. But within that, an idea came to me, a thought came to me, and it was amnesty, amnesty, amnesty for paedophiles, amnesty for paedophiles, amnesty for paedophiles. And I thought, what the fuck's this, amnesty for paedophiles? And it kept hitting me, amnesty for paedophiles, amnesty for paedophiles. And then it said that expose the paedophilic rings they're working for, that expose the paedophilic rings they're working for. It will cause mayhem, it will cause mayhem, it will cause mayhem. Then you put it all together. Amnesty for paedophiles that expose the paedophilic rings that they have been working with. It will cause havoc, because they will all be saying who's the first one to come out and going to grass us all up so that they can get amnesty. So, amnesty for paedophiles who expose the rings that they're working for. Let's do that.
I would like to see a kind of amnesty for everybody who's been up to these practices, and to be rehabilitated and restored into the mainstream of the human community. I would like to see a kind of amnesty for everybody who's been up to these practices, and to be rehabilitated and restored into the mainstream of the human community. We couldn't.
Have you connected SRA and the intelligence community?
Yes. In fact, for example, just one example, I'm also aware of at least one Satanist in one of the UK intelligence services having a go at me for my part in the campaign on the Holy Greg case. And I know she works for GCHQ. Going through all that across the country, in our own backyard. I remember once going to an SRA location where a 14-year-old girl had been sacrificed.
The Mirror report, but I find it slightly sinister that they've chosen this particular image for Wilfred Wong.
I mean, that looks very much like sort of US-style prisoner transfer, and I wasn't aware that in the UK we used manacles in that way.
Well, I've never seen anything quite like it. I mean, maybe it's a doctored image, but for the people that know Wilfred Wong, you look at that photo and it certainly looks like him, although presumably it's been taken from a distance, very grainy. Number of reports coming out. I couldn't find anything on the BBC, interestingly enough, but local papers, because the start of the story's up in North Wales in Anglesey. So here's the North Wales Chronicle, Anglesey knife point child abduction, 6 people in custody.
And the other awful thing was that there was a police station only about 50 yards from there. It is a lot closer than you realize. And we need to start with the child suffering and look at what we can do. We all can do something to help stop that suffering. When we expose SRA, when we tell people about the reality, when we raise awareness, when we write letters, when we campaign, when we talk to our MPs about it, we are doing something to protect children from these unimaginable horrors.
That case you mentioned, did they catch the people? 14 who murdered the 14-year-old girl, did they catch the people?
Unfortunately, no. And it shows the boldness of this coven and possible police shielding of them.
Listen, brother, I think you're bang on, bruv, because, you know, I'm suspicious of him, okay? So I kind of take account of the fact that I'm suspicious of him, so I allow him a bit of leeway. But that photo never looked right to me. Never, ever looked right, that photo. All right? Something didn't look right, yeah. And they've taken, whoever's done the Photoshop has taken advantage of the fact that they've got the dark uniforms on. So that's a total mock-up photograph. He's very clever. Oh, he's slippery. He's a Satanist. He's a slippery, something, sulphury. A friend told me that he's sulphury. He's a slippery, sulphury Satanist, that wedger. Don't trust anything he does. It's all snake work. All right, so you're bang on. I'm with you 100% on that one. And that video where he says, oh, let's play a child porn video one day.
Because that's how he told me. He told me it was his London team. Right. You see, this is where it gets interesting now, doesn't it? Because honestly, Roger, you've been set up, man. Honestly, you are, and you need.
Okay, I mean, I would suggest that if there's information that you're imparting here that is true, and it turns out to be not what I think it is, then fine, and that's the way of the world.
What you are known by.
You coined Sam the blogger.
Try to build a berg.
So I went along to the Royal Courts of the Royal Courts of Justice to attend the most recent case. And when I arrived, I bumped into one of the chief campaigners, Belinda Mackenzie, and I asked her what on earth was going on. But luckily, as I left, I managed to bump into Brian Gerrish, the man who started the UK column newspaper, and I asked him to clarify.
So Brian, tell us what happened in there today. Well, let's stay away from Wikipedia.
Well, Wikipedia can be useful, but I've just had a joke with you a little bit earlier on today. If you want a big joke, go and see what Wikipedia says about me.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much.
So, Brian Gerrish there.
So, right, no, wait. Brian Gerrish, I've met him multiple times. I first encountered him when he was like just in the first lawful rebellion stuff I started to get into, and I used to like really respect the guy. He absolutely hates my guts now, and it makes me think that, I mean, he's gone through a schism. Like when I first met them, they were going through like a populist bubble, and they had a guy called Malcolm Massey, and they were just like a cool, albeit, you know, a bit southwest culty Glastonbury attached to hippie people.
But do you know Belinda Mackenzie?
Yeah, I don't trust Melinda Mackenzie with a barge pole.
No, why is that?
I know, I've got some stuff about that I cannot tell you. I really cannot tell you. It's like, what's going on with those guys? That's the thing about UK column, like always stiff.
And what else can't you tell people? Because it's not just me you're not telling, it's all your subscribers, isn't it? All this information you got that you can't tell no one. You know, you're sounding more and more like a gatekeeper, aren't you?
You have no idea. I go there every day.
I let you talk, didn't I? What? You know, you're not letting me finish what I need to say.
I think, you know, did you start saying this the first time I stood at Buckingham Palace? Because I've been standing in front of Buckingham Palace for fucking years.
And, you know, I wish I knew that Hampstead thing before, because I would have asked you about that, Sam. Your Hampstead involvement with Lou Collins.
So, Louise, I know that you've had a look at the area and you've found that at least some of the information that came out of the children rang true.
I had nightmares over this after seeing some of this back last year, but I decided I was going to go up to Hampstead and just check out the locations that the children were saying and whereabouts they were. And Sam the blogger accompanied me, and whereabouts they were. And Sam the blogger accompanied me.
Trying to pick me up. They're absolute pieces of shit. They're fucking very evil people. They're not nice. But the whole point is that most people don't have this experience of dealing with evil people. Or they have it, but they don't realise they're evil people. They just think, oh no, they're okay. There must be 2 and 2 equal, you know, like 6 one, half dozen the other.
Yeah.
Once you deal with I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is why I'm truly privileged. Even though it fucking almost killed me dealing with that Luke, right? It fucking almost killed me.
Hello YouTube.
It's Brian Harvey chatting to Tom Carhill, who's spent most of his time apparently thousands and thousands of miles away in Thailand. Brian Harvey will speak to him. Brian Harvey also spoke to Zygote, who was thousands and thousands of miles away in Australia. He'll speak to lots of people. He don't want to speak to anybody that was at Parliament Square though, unless you're Bill Maloney, John Wedger, Ben Fellows.
No, don't. No, it doesn't matter. Brian. Honey. Fucking idiots. Want to talk shit when there's real stuff there. So you fucking for real. No, don't swear. Don't swear. Enough. Right? No, we've had. No. Okay. No, they're not. I already. I know. No, they're fucking idiots. I'm sorry. I'm not having it. Paul the man, who the fuck are you? Well, no. It wasn't. Stop. Dickhead. I'll call you later. All right, sweetheart. Well, that didn't go so well. Look, I've had Paul the man calling me out on my credibility, so we had a chat about.
Anyway, it's Brian Harvey says that it was a set-up by MI5. Not me, I don't say that at all. That's Brian Harvey's version of events. Which of course places him at the centre of everything. It's all about Brian. And in many respects, it actually is. Anyway, Tom Carhill's a familiar figure to me because he was floating around in 2012 when Bill Maloney was doing his running around bit at all the protests. Getting very busy online he was. Some people were asking questions of Bill Maloney because things didn't quite add up. I was one of those people. Tom Carhill was another one of those people. There were a few others that I can't remember, but they seem to have disappeared. I don't know whether they have or not. If they've got any sense, they would have disappeared. Because to still be here 9 years later seems a bit obsessive. But then again, of course, I am slap bang right in the middle of this conspiracy.
Does that act supersede his human rights? The acts that you mentioned, yeah.
Acts of Parliament, statutes, who need the consent of the government.
Does it supersede this gentleman's human rights?
We're not telling him he cannot stay here. What we're saying is,
the structure, no structure.
So maybe that's why I'm still around. Or maybe I'm still around for other reasons, who knows?
Right, I'm staying. Done, man. But I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. Brian Hall did it. I'm going to do it. 10 or no 10. Right.
Anyway, obviously it's worked to my detriment, and I knew it would work to my detriment by saying that I spent 2 years at Her Majesty's Prison Grendon doing therapy in a therapeutic community.
Let me say a few other things. One thing I will say, in my accelerator programs, I demand results. You come in and it's an accountability system.
And they say the courses you give them are in they say that one of the modules was about how you should turn your phone off and go on a country walk.
I have hundreds upon hundreds of video testimonials on my website, 30 minutes in total, from people all around the world that have talked about how they've loved it.
Right, I'm staying here.
Of 200 or 300 people who want refunds from you. I mean, what kind of business is it?
Right, I'm staying here.
Customers.
Maybe I'm a person that they love to hate. I don't know, but actually, I get incredible. I'm super proud.
Right, I'm staying here.
With rapists, paedophiles, murderers, child killers, men who psychologically and physically abuse women, batter them senseless, serial killers, armed robbers, 2 years I spent with people like that. The logic is they're nonces, so that makes me a nonce, so you can dismiss me on that ground as well. But
Come in, Brian. And I think that's kind of where I'm most known for at the moment. So the BBC run Fishing Control, and it was so the BBC run Fishing Control, and it was so the BBC run Fishing Control.
Take a lie detector test, obviously.
Come in, Brian. Come in, Brian. There's a surprise from the team. Basically, I've got an agent called Mission Control, and I think that's kind of where I'm most known for them. Come in, Brian. So the BBC run Fishing Control, and it was so the BBC run Fishing Control.
But then there are other people floating around on YouTube. James English has spoken to some of them. I'm fairly sure that John Wedger's interviewed Terry Ellis, but nobody's calling Noel Razor Smith and Terry Ellis nonsense. Anyway, what did I do? Some of those people are going to be released, and it's a therapeutic community, and everybody's supposed to be there to work themselves and also help others. I did my best to make sure that people that I encountered wouldn't re-offend again. Anyway, in the minds of a lot of people, what I should have done in that situation is I should have killed a few rapists, paedophiles, whatever. That's what I should have done, because that opportunity was presented to me. I didn't do that, so now I'm a lowlife. Well, that's alright. You want to go and do that, go ahead and do it. Spend the rest of your life in jail. You can be the hero in there. Yeah, it's your life. You do what you want with your life. Yeah, let me do what I want with mine. Thanks very much. Anyway, what they completely miss is the fact that Grendon is one of the world's most researched forensic establishments. And it has that title because of what it does there. It has the country's most dangerous people in there. There's Tom Cahill there talking about evil people, and how most people don't get to deal with evil people.
Right, this is just going to be a quick video about two people. Roger Hayes of the British Constitution Group and Brian Gerrish of the UK column. Right, how you know they're COINTELPRO. Now, COINTELPRO is short for Counter-Intelligence Programme. I'll give you it in its historical context. The Black Panthers. They'd set up some Black Panthers who wouldn't really be Black Panthers, they'd be undercovers, and they'd start slagging off the other Black Panthers, or they'd be paid by the state, like informants type thing. They'd start slagging the other Black Panthers off, start making up rumours like saying that one of them was sort of like cheating on his wife, or he was, you know, this type of stuff. Cause loads of problems. Everyone thinks, why would they be causing problems in any organisation? They must be telling the truth. Not telling the truth. Causes problems, causes rifts, creates division. Right.
Well, I spent 2 years doing group therapy with evil people, people that you would consider to be evil. I've sat there and listened to their whole life story. I've sat there and listened to how they committed their crimes. I've sat there and listened to very, very horrific things. Getting angry, violent and emotional in that situation. Pointless. It's never going to stop somebody re-offending. Anyway, Grendon should be a university because it will teach you a lot about psychology. It will teach you a lot about criminology. It will teach you a lot about how very dangerous people think. Of course, I already had some experience about that. I'd spent most of my life going in and out of prison. Hundreds of cellmates, all telling me their story, like Brian is here on YouTube. It's a little bit like being in prison for me. Listen to him waffle on. You know, there's a lot of desperate people trying to wriggle out of situations that they've got themselves in. And so they try the story out on you, you know, to perfect it, to get it right. See if people believe them or not. I don't believe a word that comes out of your mouth, Brian Harvey. You're lying. And I know you're lying. I very much doubt that many people have gone to my community page and read some of the information that I've put up about Her Majesty's Prison Grendon and what the psychiatrists and psychologists say about the inmates in there. They say that all the inmates are therapists as well, and that you cannot con a con. In other words, you can't con a convict, because they've been there, they've seen it, they've done it, they know how you think, they know how you're lying, they know where you're lying. Of course, the truth of the matter is, you can con a convict, and that happens quite a lot. But they are, nonetheless, it's quite difficult to pull the wool over the eyes of somebody who's spent quite a lot of their life in and out of the British prison system. And it's funny because I got collared by an ex-Metropolitan Police officer. I've talked about it before. He was the one that was interested in this alleged interest I have in conspiracy. And he kept giving me puzzles in logic, you know, and I'd go and work them out, you know, I'd think about them seriously because I'd want to work them out. So what he knows about me is I'm somebody who likes to work things out. Of course, one thing you can say about my life is that in early childhood I've already believed there was a conspiracy in it. Well, I don't believe it, I know it. In actual fact, there was conspiracy. You know, I was groomed. And that grooming goes on behind your back, you know. People plotting and planning. People around you plotting and planning. And of course, I'm somebody searching for answers. Not just about my own truth, but about truth in general. Fundamental questions about why we exist. I know. Anyway, Grendon is full of forensic psychologists and forensic psychiatrists and criminologists. Sociologists, they have people coming in and out of there all the time. All these actors and acting groups and stuff like that, yeah. It genuinely should have university status. You should get a degree when you come out of there. Anyway, I am somebody who has genuinely dealt for long extended periods of time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 years, with some of the country's most evil men. Not only had to deal with them, but I've had to listen to their whole life stories and the horrors of their crimes. I learnt a lot from being there. Anyway, for some reason, somehow, there was supposed to be a protest going on in Parliament Square. It wasn't a protest. That's quite obvious. It was quite obvious to me when I got there. It wasn't obvious to Brian Harvey, apparently. When I came home from that protest, I had some threats. And I'd also been trying to move for the last 5 or 6 years without any great success. But between Brian Harvey's MI5 operation in Parliament Square and November 2013, I suddenly, very quickly, managed to get a council house exchange with somebody who lived in Plymouth. Of course, where I was living previously was about 2 miles away from where Brian Harvey lives now. They weren't trying to move me away from him, were they? I heard Brian Harvey say to Christine Joanna Hart, they should send somebody to talk to him. I ain't being funny, Brian Harvey, but I think I might have been that person in 2013. Anyway, a few weeks back I predicted that the heat was on Brian Harvey. He seems to be falling apart at the minute. Seems like I might have got that right. Anyway, one such person that I chatted to on a number of occasions at Her Majesty's Prison, Grendon, is a psychopathic serial killer. Now everybody knows that they're very devious people. What's more, they left me alone with that person. I could have been another one of their victims. So I mightn't have my wits about me, you know what I mean? The weird thing is, up to that point I'd only killed 2 people. And they put me alone with them for long extended periods of time. With no staff about. I know. Anyway, me and them didn't have any problems really. Maybe that's because I've got some idea of how to be with somebody like that. Without there being problems. And that person couldn't pull the wool over my eyes. I'm dangerous to Brian Harvey's bullshit. And Brian Harvey knows that I'm dangerous to his bullshit. That's why I'm a no one, Brian, isn't it? Brian Harvey's banging trouble. And he's looking for friends and he's got none. You know, sometimes this is a little bit like being in a group in Grendon for me. I find myself watching and listening to Brian Harvey like I used to listen to men in the groups at Grendon. People have to volunteer to go to Grendon, and if they muck about and they don't do therapy and they're lying and they're hiding things, people cotton onto that very, very quickly. And unless people there address it, the truth, there's a wing meeting and the wing votes as to whether that person stays there or not. I would have voted you out a long time ago, Brian Harvey. A long time ago.
This geezer had some good advice, you know what I mean? Don't get involved with this, don't get involved with that. And he's right. I'm not looking to get involved with other people's stories. I'm involved with mine. And Bill Maloney, Ian Puddick, Chris Fay, what they've done with Andrew Ash and they've done to me, does roll into the phone tapping, which is why it's relevant. With regards to the Hampstead, the Hoaxted thing and all that, listen, once again, this John Wedger thing appears to be rolling over into that. You know, I've asked some questions there. I am aware that Eddie's spoken to whatever the geezer's called, Abraham. So what? It's up to him, innit, if he wants to talk to him. It's up to him. I've not asked him for this guy's number. The only thing that I did want to know was when I was playing the video the other day with that guy talking, like there's the mention of a tattoo, and obviously when I filmed the Andrew interview, Andrew's saying about he's got a birthmark. So I've just got questions with, was it a birthmark? Was it a tattoo? Was it called a birthmark intentionally in front of me? I think it was, because I'm supposed to go there and go, yeah, he had a birthmark on Big Brother. And, you know, it's clearly part of the plan. But was there even a tattoo? And then you got Bill Maloney talking to Lou Collins on the where they're talking about the Hampstead thing, and Bill saying that Andrew has described a tattoo, or he's drawn a tattoo for him. So then why in the Express interview would they say a birthmark? Personally, I think neither of them are true. That's my opinion. But is that my job to look into? It's not my job, man. And I'm not going to complicate my situation any more than it already is. There's already enough to look at and think about. I mean, you got all that lot up there, right? So I think that's enough, don't you? You know, and if some of those people's stories roll over into other subjects that are going on YouTube, then fair enough. But like I say, I'm only going to tell it from my point of view, from where I am situated in this whole story. And for me, the main thing here for me was to sort out that I've been phone tapped and prove that. And it's not my fault that Bill Maloney and Puddick know people at the News of the World, and they was going to use that to their advantage to stitch me up at a time when, you know, which is what I did. And they're the ones that have taken it further, taken it into a setup. They've been caught out, right? No one wants to answer my questions on the issue, right? Especially John, which is fine. Get on with it, John. Don't answer my questions, whatever. Call me an ex-celebrity, and certain people are second-rate fucking media gurus, or whatever you want to call them, whatever, mate. Because when this does go to Crown, I will be calling people up, and I will be asking questions, and you will have to answer. So you can't run forever. So the fact that I've been arrested for malicious communications will probably end up bringing you all back into it at the end of the day, and you will have to ask questions. Yeah? And where does Tom Cahill come into it? Because if that geezer doesn't think that I've been recording him from day one, then he's mistaken. Right? I've had to chat shit with this geezer online for God knows how many years to keep him talking, right? Slowly working out the fact that, hang on a minute, I believe this bloke has always been in with Ian Puddick, which would make a lot of sense as to why his videos and his Twitter had never come down. Do you know what I mean? Because they would. And Puddick has said that Cahill did call him a paedophile, but yet he's still up there. So what's been going on now? What has been going on now? Because that cop who I spoke to yesterday has told me that this geezer's coming to court. You know what I mean? So it's about to get interesting. It really is. And it's a good job that I've got all these recordings of this guy, because there's been a lot of things said, and I've had to talk a lot of shit with this geezer in order to keep him talking and slowly giving himself away. But I've got it all. Don't worry about that. And yeah, I think that's about it, really. See, look, my name's coming up here. Oh, Guidance 2222. Yeah, I noticed that you was recording Eddie. Yeah, and apparently that thing was heavily edited as well. Brian RV, question mark, Hampstead case, question mark, the gatekeeper truth. I don't really know what to say to you, Guidance, mate. I don't know what your agenda is in all of this.
I'm allowed to have. I have nothing to do with the other six. Cleanliness is next to godliness, Pie. It costs next to nothing. Talk to them other than they comment on here. I don't know what you think I'm doing wrong, but this is a free platform and I have the right to my views. I don't get involved. People do have the right to their views as long as they're taking in the real information that's been laid out there, and they're not just dismissing it and going off on their own tangent and what they think is happening and what they claim to know. Oh, with the sick stuff, I won't be dragged into either. Yeah. Well, all these people that he's talking about, what, he reckons we're in a gang? No, we're just awakened to being. You are in a gang, the lot of you. That's why you all end up on your channel. You're all plants, is what it is. You're plants, of course you are. Why are you all so bothered about me? What's your problem? Why are you so bothered about me? What are you so interested in me for? Because Pie came along claiming to be a fucking be a supporter. Yeah, go on, Brian Harvey. And because I wasn't listening to him and the way that he was saying, oh, you should do if you don't do this, I'm trying to come with threats and that. I'll knock you out, Pie. Honestly, mate, if I ever come to Australia, I'll fucking I'll fucking weigh you in, you cunt. Yeah? You're just lucky you're on the other side of the fucking planet. And I ain't no fucking big hard geezer, yeah? But you see people like you need weighing in. Yeah, because you're all that. You're all that. I come through your door and that, man. You won't be fucking chatting the shit that you're chatting now. I fucking guarantee it, mate. I guarantee it. I fucking guarantee it. Ever seen through Brian Harvey's bullshit and fucking witness what bullshit? Right? What is the bullshit that we're all supposed to be seeing through it? Is that bullshit, honestly? Police documents there. If I'm lying, police, come and arrest me, yeah? Come and arrest me for creating false documents. So don't be so fucking stupid. You'd be telling me I weren't in court in 2003. Yeah, you'd be telling me I weren't phone tapped next. You fucking idiots. Fuck off, Danny Jones. Right? You had your fucking moment. Now fuck off. Get out my fucking sight, you fucking boring fucking piece of shit, busybody cunt. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're old Bill, you knob. That's what you are. You're old Bill. Now fuck off. Go and create another channel and I'll get rid of that one as well, yeah? Right, where was we? All for ourselves. We don't have no club. The only person with a club here is Brian Harvey with little fucking mind drones like you. Well, probably are fucking Brian Harvey. Oh, you probably fucking are Brian Harvey. Now he realises he fucked up, right? I think you know something. You ain't on about shit. See? Also, that last bit, he didn't know where he was going after that because he was just, he's reaching, he's making it up as he fucking goes along the prick. Oh, he's got his fucking little, phone number there too. Posting phone numbers on public forums. What, you gonna have? I'm on to the next one now, yeah? You had your chance, mate. I waited about for 20 minutes, yeah? Don't give me that shit that your computer's that shit. That's all you do and all. Fucking hissy fit when next thing you know it's like, I have to take your video down, Pi Zygote, because my fucking phone number, my number is up there when you're posting it in public fucking forums. Yeah, well, if you're posting your phone number in public forums and it's your fucking number, well, obviously, that's your fucking problem for posting it in a public forum to begin with, which is
Welcome to Rich Planet TV. I'm Richard D. Hall. As you may know, at Rich Planet, we don't like to report on stories that are creations of mainstream media, because inevitably they turn out to be either false or pushed for an ulterior motive. One mainstream story that has featured heavily over the last 7 years is the so-called phone hacking scandal. Let's correct that straight off and give it its proper name, the phone hacking PSYOP.
Thanks very much.
And it kept hitting me, amnesty for paedophiles, amnesty for paedophiles. And then it said that expose the paedophilic rings they're working for. That expose the paedophilic rings they're working for. It will cause mayhem.
Let's play a child porn video one day. Let's play it, and I know it sounds appalling, but let's see the reality of what these young children have to go through. Let's see the physical injuries that they endure, the fear in their eyes. And that's not even going near the satanic stuff.
Working extremely hard over many years to protect children from ritualistic abuse, has been arrested as part of a group, and according to the mainstream press, they kidnapped a child at knife point.
Next question. Does researching this for over 20 years turn Wilfred's mind and send him insane, especially watching videos of child abuse, photographs, etc.? How do you deal with it psychologically?
Well, I don't think I'm insane, because if I was, I wouldn't be on this program twice, unless that is a qualification to be on this program.
None of us are insane in here. We're all normal.
You know that sign that they used to sell, you don't have to be crazy to work here, but it helps. No, but seriously, the effect that this will have is different for different people. And my calling and my gifting has been on child protection issues, not just SRA, but other child protection issues as well. And so I've been suited for this issue. As a Christian, I would say God gave me this job to work on child protection, and he gave me the anointing and the suitability mentally and physically to cope with the issue. Because when God calls someone to do an issue, he also equips that person to do the job.
No, your inalienable rights come from God, and no one can force you to contract into the laws of England or the laws of Britain. You only have one allegiance, and that is to God and his chosen one. And I am, of course, that chosen one. I am the Lord Jesus Christ, and I now welcome you to the end time.
Reports coming out. I couldn't find anything on the BBC, interestingly enough, but local papers, because the start of the story's up in North Wales in Anglesey. So here's the North Wales Chronicle. Anglesey knife point child abduction, 6 people in custody. So what was the Chronicle saying? Well, they were all remanded in custody by District Judge Gwyn Jones to appear at Carnarvon Crown Court on December the 7th.
They're very skillful at using everyday places for the most horrific things in the middle of the night. And these places, which may look very innocent in the daytime, can look quite different at night. Because I've on many occasions gone out at night to several of these places. As I said, when I do investigations, I like to do them with a very hands-on approach and not just speak as someone from a distance, but get close to the subject and see the actual places they use for these abuses. And that gives me also an understanding of how they think and how they try to conceal their actions.
Because the start of the story's up in North Wales in Anglesey. So here's the North Wales Chronicle. Anglesey knife point child abduction, 6 people in custody.
Sometimes they think that they're not accountable to anybody at all, and they have to be questioned and challenged on this.
Does Wilfred worry about the risks of exposing such extremely dangerous and powerful people?
No. I think because they are dangerous and powerful, they all the more reason why they need to be exposed. Because dangerous, powerful people can do much more damage to vulnerable people than those who are less powerful.
Have you connected SRA and the intelligence community?
Yes. In fact, for example, just one example, I'm also aware of at least one Satanist in one of the UK intelligence services having a go at me for my part in the campaign on the Holly Gregg case. And I know she works for GCHQ. So that was also a pretty clear example of intelligence service involvement. But as with the police, there are bad people and good people in the organization. And so I'm not saying all of them are against us, but I'm saying some of them are. And I'm saying that some of these people in intelligence services are more concerned about protecting the status quo.
I've never seen anything quite like it. I mean, maybe it's a doctored image, but for the people that know Wilfred Wong, you look at that photo and it certainly looks like him, although presumably it's been taken from a distance, very grainy.
Certain VIPs than protecting children.
Right.
So we bear that in mind, but we also bear in mind that there are also, I'm sure, some good people in these groups that, if they were well aware on these subjects, would would want to, in their own very limited way perhaps, help and support the exposure of SRA. And I would say that it's not just the UK intelligence services. It probably also extends to other intelligence services.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming back, Wilfred. We've run out of time. Loads of questions. Have you got any more questions for Wilfred?
Well, change of topic, a very serious one. We learnt last night, in fact, that Wilfred Wong, the child protection campaigner and a man who's particularly been working extremely hard over many years to protect children from ritualistic abuse, has been arrested as part of a group, and according to the mainstream press, they kidnapped a child at knife point.
What I will say is he's placed himself in a position where, to be honest with you, no matter what anybody says to me, and that includes yourself, I cannot be convinced that Brian Gerrish is operating with anything but an ulterior motive, because I've seen too much and I've seen a pattern of his behaviour. Now, the only way that I can reverse that position, in my mind, is if the man addresses the points and totally reverses his position and renounces any connection to the club. I'll just call it the club now, and if you speak to him, he'll know exactly what you are saying, even though it might not mean anything to you at this stage, and that's all I'll say on that. But can
I just clarify? Do you mean the Con Club?
The what? Sorry.
Club? What club?
Well, this is the thing. There's an actual physical place that is a club, and rituals go on there. Because I've been there when the rituals have been going on there, and
in where?
In the club. Brian knows. Brian knows.
What, in Leeds?
No. Brian knows. Just tell him. That it's the club that his London team operate. Because that's how he told me. He told me it was his London team. Right. You see, this is where it gets interesting now, doesn't it? Because honestly, Roger, you've been set, man. Honestly, you are, and you need.
Okay, I mean, I would suggest that if there's information that you're imparting here that is true, and it turns out to be not what I think it is, then fine, and that's the way of the world.